Hello, teleSUR English presents a new episode of China Now, a Wave Media's production that showcases the culture, the technology and politics of the Asian giant. In this episode, we are going to review the last recap of our economic news in 2023. Let's see.
China Current is a weekly news talk show from China to the world. We cover viral news about China every week and also give you the newest updates on China's cutting-edge technologies. Let's get started.
Happy Chinese New Year! I'm Chris. Welcome to this special episode of China Currents. 2023 was a year of rabbit in Chinese calendar. Yet, as we all have seen, 2023 was nowhere near the tamed image of a rabbit. There was, or actually is, the upheaval in Palestine, the ongoing war in Ukraine. In China, there was earthquake in northwestern China, the flood and heavy rain in northern China. Many of these events are still impacting our lives, and others may have become a little bit obscured by this moment. But either way, there are still factors that shape 2023 as we know it. So, without further ado, here's your final episode of looking back at 2023. Top 5 economic news. On December 5th, American rating agency Moodys downgraded its China's sovereign credit rating outlook from stable to negative, while retaining a long-term rating of A1 on the country's sovereign bonds. Moodys cited growing risks of persistently lower mid-term economic growth and a property downturn which pose broad downside risks to China's physical, economic and institutional strength. This decision has drawn disappointment from China's Ministry of Finance, which called the matter disheartening. In an interview, the ministry emphasized despite fluctuations in economic recovery during different quarters, China has successfully overcome risks and pressures resulting from the pandemic and various domestic factors. In the first 3 quarters of this year, China's GDP grew by 5.2% year-on-year, with domestic demand making a significant contribution to this growth, particularly through consumer spending, which contributed 83.2%, and capital formation, which contributed 29.8%. Regarding Moody's concerns about local government debt, the Ministry of Finance stressed that it has established an institutional framework to prevent and resolve risks related to local government debt. At the end of 2022, China's local government debt stood at 35.1 trillion yuan, and total government debt, including debt managed by the central government, was 61 trillion yuan. The government's statutory debt-to-GDP ratio of 50.4% is below the internationally accepted 60% warning line and lower than that of major market economies and emerging markets. Moody's downgrade of China's sovereign credit rating outlook carries a significant implication. However, China's Ministry of Finance remains confident in the country's economic prospects and its ability to deepen reforms and navigate risks and challenges. On December 19th, Thailand's Royal 50R Group filed a lawsuit seeking 10 billion Thai baht, or around $286 million in compensation from China's Luckin Coffee. The Royal 50R Group claims to have registered the Luckin trademark in Thailand in 2020 for operating coffee shops before Luckin Coffee expanded overseas. The court initially ruled in favor of Luckin, considering it a case of malicious registration, but the Royal 50R Group contested the ruling and ultimately won the case. Luckin now awaits verification of details in its statement announced on December 20th. Luckin Coffee's overseas expansion reflects the rapid growth of China's coffee industry in recent years. In a report released in early December, China now has the most chain coffee shops in the world with a 58% annual growth rate, surpassing the US. Among the emerging coffee chains, Luckin contributed significantly to the growth, opening over 5,000 shops in a year. In August, Luckin announced its quarterly revenue of $852 million, overtaking Starbucks' $822 million in China. But China's coffee chains, including Luckin, face uphill battles from time to time in paving their ways to the markets. Before the trademark lawsuit in Thailand, Luckin faced allegation of financial fraud in January 2020, only a half a year after its Nasdaq listing. This led to 85% drop in its US stock price, and its mobile app crashed temporarily due to overwhelming demand for coupon redemption. With changes in management and releases of new products, Luckin overcame the obstacles over the next few years and now seeks to expand overseas. However, for the Chinese coffee chains, the trademark lawsuit only marks the beginning of the challenges they may encounter in entering new markets. The top news of this week is undoubtedly the Central Economic Work Conference, which will set the tone for economic policymaking for the coming year. As the crucial prelude for the conference, a meeting of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee started on December 8th. This meeting provided an authoritative assessment of the situation in 2023, stating that China has employed various means to achieve an upward trend in its economy. In the first 3 quarters, China's gross domestic product grew by 5.2% year-on-year, maintaining a leading growth rate among major global economies. The chief representative of the International Monetary Fund in China mentioned that China remains the largest engine of global economic growth, contributing 1/3 of the world's growth volume. On December 11th, the Central Economic Work Conference was commenced in Beijing, where President Xi Jinping was in attendance and delivered a significant speech outlining the country's economic priorities and strategies for 2024. The conference acknowledged that 2023 represented a year of economic recovery and development following the COVID-19 pandemic. By deepening reforms, enhancing macroeconomic regulation, stimulating domestic demand, optimizing economic structure, boosting confidence, and managing risks, China's economy made steady progress toward high-quality development. Despite a positive trajectory, the conference also noted several challenges and difficulties that need to be overcome to further promote economic recovery. These challenges include insufficient effective demand, excess production capacity in certain industries, weak social expectations, multiple risks, bottlenecks in the domestic circulation, and an increasing complex and uncertain external environment. The conference emphasized the need to enhance awareness of potential risks and effectively address these issues. Let's turn to Huawei. Huawei France Deputy General Manager Zhang Minggang recently revealed that Huawei's first overseas factory has been set for France, expected to begin production by end of 2025. According to Zhang, the Huawei France factory will be located in the town of Bruma in the Rhineland region, occupying about 80,000 square meters of land. The €200 million project is forecast to produce €1 billion worth of output annually, delivering high returns while creating 800 jobs, including 300 in the near term and 500 longer-term positions. The plant is projected to manufacture 1 billion devices per year, specifically 4G, 5G base station components like chipsets and motherboards to supply the greater European market. Since entering France in 2003, Huawei now operates 6 R&D centers and 1 global design center in Paris alone, enabling nearly 10,000 local jobs so far. France was previously Huawei's largest overseas market with €2.5 billion revenue in 2021, though environmental hurdles has delayed the factory announcement first made in 2019. In nearly 20 years since entering France, Huawei has established extensive operations centered around 6 research hubs and a global design center in Paris. The firm achieved €2.5 billion sales in France by 2021, created close to 10,000 jobs, and captured 20% share of the French telecom infrastructure market. On August 17th, Evergrande Group, one of China's largest real estate developers, has filed for bankruptcy protection in the United States. Evergrande, which owes over $300 billion, has been struggling with the liquidity crisis for months. It has missed multiple bond interest payments since the beginning of this year. The company's debt crisis has sent shockwaves through China's property sector. The Evergrande crisis has a significant impact on global markets. The potential fallout from a full-blown Evergrande default could have far-reaching implications, not just for the real estate sector, but also for financial institutions and economies worldwide. Thanks to mass urbanization, real estate has been one of Chinese economy's driving engines since the millennium. Nevertheless, as the urbanization rate reaches over 60%, the golden days for real estate companies seem to be gone. The government has just issued policies to stop housing speculation, which used to occupy a large chunk of the houses sold in the country. The government's policy shift marks the Communist Party's determination in improving housing inequality. Evergrande is not the only company who found it hard to adapt to the new situation. Country Garden, or Biguiyuan in Chinese, is one of the largest and most successful real estate developers in China. According to various sources, Country Garden is at risk of default due to the lack of liquidity and will be removed from Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index on September 4th. Top 5 technology news.
In an interview on December 6th, Wang Zhiqin, Deputy Director of China Academy of Information and Communications Technology and head of the 6G Task Force, revealed that China is on track to achieve commercial use of 6G by 2030, with standardization to be completed by 2025. During the interview, Wang Zhiqin outlined the envisioned future applications of 6G technology. He highlighted 3 new scenarios: the fusion of communication and perception, the integration of communication and AI, and a concept of ubiquitous connectivity, which refers to the integration of physical and virtual domains. These scenarios are expected to connect not only individuals, but also various intelligent entities, such as robots and metaverse environments. Wang also mentioned that 5G could be further enhanced to address industry-specific challenges, which could pave the way for 6G advancements. China began 6G technology trials in 2019 and has been conducting research on system architecture and technical solutions. These efforts are laying the groundwork for future advances in 6G technology. As China continues to make progress in 6G, it is positioning itself at the forefront of next-generation communication technology to revolutionize connectivity and unlock new opportunities for the digital future. On December 4th, a team from Chinese Academy of Sciences, China's leading research institute, announced significant progress in stroke treatment. This achievement is attributed to the utilization of brain-computer interface technology, which has the potential to regulate neuronal discharge and facilitate the recovery of damaged neurons and brain circuits. The team developed an implantable hydrogel neuroelectrode capable of acquiring brain neuroinformation from the recipient and modulating neurons based on this information. Through electrode, the researchers conducted an 8-week-long monitoring of brain neuroinformation in a laboratory mouse, successfully modulating stroke-affected brain neural circuits. This modulation effectively reduced the infarct area of brain tissue and facilitated the restoration of the mouse motor function. Research on implantable BCI devices emerged in the mid-1990s. Despite certain technological disparities between China and the US, the emerging BCI technology presents an opportunity for Chinese researchers to catch up and even surpass their international counterparts in a relatively short period. As the technological competition between the two countries intensifies, humanity may witness another technological leap similar to the one in the Cold War era.
If you believed Americans had put men on the moon, and it's been 50 years since the last man walked on the moon, but the hiatus is about to end now. On July 12th, China unveiled its plan to land humans on the moon by 2030. The announcement was made at a space industry farm in Wuhan, central China. Zhang Hailian, Deputy Chief Engineer of the China Manned Space Agency's Engineering Office, reviewed the proposed plan. First, 2 rockets will enter lunar orbit, a lunar surface lander and a manned spacecraft. After successful docking, the astronauts will enter the lunar module to descend to the lunar surface. The double launch approach splits the task into 2, thus get around with the challenge of developing a heavy-duty rocket that is powerful enough to carry everything. A manned lunar surface mission will need both the human crew and the lunar lander, as well as oxygen, water, equipment, and other mission essentials, all of which add to the weight of the payload being lifted. Once the astronauts have completed their scientific exploration and collected samples from the lunar surface, the lander will transport them back to the orbiting spacecraft, on which they will return to the Earth. The US is so far the only country to put man on the moon. The Apollo missions in the 60s and 70s were highly successful, marking a US victory in the space race. The Americans have been talking about getting back to the moon in recent years, yet due to its deindustrialization policies, the US had found it difficult to restart the lunar mission. The successful execution of China's ambitious mission will undoubtedly pave the way for human exploration of Earth's celestial neighbors. And many observers have said that the US will be the underdog when the Chinese walk on the moon, a jealous watcher Well, I don't think so. At least Americans will now have a witness to testify that the Apollo mission weren't just a huge stunt happened in LA studio. Next up, in a significant recognition of China's technological advancements, the country's space station project and Harmony OS have been selected as part of the global top 10 engineering achievements for 2023. The announcement was made by the Chinese Academy of Engineering and other institutions in Beijing. These achievements highlight groundbreaking projects and technological innovations that have potential to shape various industries and benefit society as a whole. Among the notable engineering feats included in the list are ChatGPT, China's space station, Exascope supercomputer, Baihetan hydropower station, dual asteroid redirection test, the new malaria vaccine, Harmony OS, Spot and Atlas robots, lithium-ion powered batteries, unmanned aerial vehicles. China's space station project and the Harmony OS operating system showcase the nation's commitment to technological advancement and innovation. These achievements further solidify China's presence in the global engineering landscape, highlighting the country's contributions to science progress and technological breakthroughs. As China continues to make strides in various fields of engineering, these accolades underscore the country's dedication to pushing boundaries and shaping the future of technology on a global scale. Next up, AI. According to official Chinese statistical data, the market size of China's large language model sector is anticipated to surge to 13.23 billion yuan by 2023, with a remarkable growth rate of 110%. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology reports that there are currently more than 19 LLM research and development firms in China. By 2023, the adoption rate of generative artificial intelligence technologies in Chinese enterprises is projected to hit 15%, resulting in an estimated market scale of around 1.44 trillion yuan. Notably, the manufacturing, retail, telecommunications, and healthcare sectors have witnessed rapid growth in the utilization of generative AI. Projections indicate that by 2035, generative AI is poised to contribute nearly 19 trillion yuan in economic value globally, with China's share surpassing an impressive 30 trillion yuan. Next up, according to the latest data from China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, in the first 10 months of 2023, China's lithium battery industry sustained its growth momentum, with total output up 31% year-on-year nationwide. Specifically, September to October, national lithium battery production exceeded 185 gigawatt-hour, a 17% year-on-year increase. This includes over 38 gigawatt-hour of energy-stored batteries and around 76 gigawatt-hour worth of power batteries installed in new energy vehicles. Total lithium battery output has reached 765 gigawatt-hour in January to October, rising 31% from the previous year. Exports of lithium batteries also kept growing. In September and October, total export value hit 82.46 billion yuan, a 21% year-on-year increase. Additionally, all lithium battery production segments maintained high growth rates so far this year. From September to October, output of key materials like cathode, anode, separators, and electrolytes reached 430,000 tons, 300,000 tons, 2.7 billion square meters, and 200,000 tons respectively, with over 25% growth across the board. Industry analysts attribute the sustained momentum to increasing global demand for new energy vehicles and energy storage applications. With continuous technological improvements, falling prices, and rising quality, China's competitiveness in lithium batteries keeps rising. Fostering this strategic emerging industry remains a national priority for enhancing manufacturing capacities. Alright, that's all for today's roundup. Thank you for watching this special episode of China Currents. If you have any thoughts and comments about our show, please reach us at the email address below. I'm Chris, looking forward to hearing from you, and Happy Chinese New Year! And see you in the next episode.
We will go for a short break now, but we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to China Now. In this segment, we have threshold, and we are going back to rating technology and assess their influence on our lives in the near future with our threshold standards. Moreover, in Thinkers Forum, we have Ding Yifan, the former Deputy Director of the Development Research Center of the State Council, to discuss the economic growth of China compared to the rest of the world, with different published statistics of the world economic growth in 2023. Let's see.
Happy Chinese New Year! I'm Lisa and this is Threshold in China. Today we are going back to rating technology and assess their ability to influence our life in the near future with our threshold standard. Today I'm going to introduce two amazing outfits and they are perfect for the season. Imagine wearing a thin and stylish sweater that keeps you as warm as a thick down jacket. Researchers at Zhejiang University have developed a special fiber inspired by polar bear hair that can make this a reality. Polar bear hair has a unique structure that provides excellent insulation in extreme cold. It is comprised of an inner porous core and an outer dense shell. The core, with its high air-filled porosity, acts as a great insulator, trapping heat close to the bear's body. Meanwhile, the outer shell provides a protective barrier. This combination allows the polar bears to thrive in temperatures that other creatures can't. Inspired by the nature, the scientists have created knittable fiber with similar properties, using aerogel technology. Aerogels have long been recognized as the ideal material for thermal insulation due to their high porosity and exceptionally low thermal conductivity. However, their application in textile has been limited due to their fragile nature, and they are also hard to process. The scientists overcame these challenges by encapsulating the aerogel fiber with a stretchable layer that mimics the core shell structure of polar bear hair. To create these fibers, the scientists started by making a very fluffy and lightweight aerogel fibers, kind of like making cotton candy but using a different material. Then they covered these fibers with a stretchy plastic layer, creating what they call an encapsulated aerogel fiber, EAF. This process made the EAF incredibly stretchy and strong. They were even able to lift half a kilo of weight with just one fiber. These EAF have an impressive ability to stretch up to 10 times their original length, which is much more than regular aerogel fibers with very limited stretchiness. Even after being stretched and relaxed 10,000 times, these EAF retain their ability to keep things warm, and they're tough enough to be washed and dyed, making them suitable for various types of clothing and fabrics. With this technology, the researchers successfully knitted a sweater that is only 1/5 as thick as a traditional insulation, but just as warm. The researchers believe that these fibers could be useful in extreme environments where excellent insulation is needed. They also think that the method they use to create the fibers is straightforward enough for it to be easily scaled up for mass production. So how good is it according to the standards of the threshold rating? Remember, we have three categories: readiness, novelty, and potential impact or ripples. The readiness category refers to the maturity of a technology, from lab demonstration, that is a 1, to mass production, which is a 5. The novelty score refers to how new the innovation is. 1 means that there is a small differentiation to existing technology, and 5 means that innovation fulfills a new function. Finally, the ripple scale, as we call it, is our opinion of a technology's potential for life-changing impacts and how widely it can be applied elsewhere. The biomimic polar bear fiber is a great innovation, but it does face some challenges. To ensure its strength and durability, the fiber is covered with thermoplastic polyurethane, TPU. TPU is chosen for its excellent strength and flexibility. However, there is a couple of drawbacks. First, TPU is relatively expensive, and second, TPU isn't resistant to UV light, meaning that it can degrade and weaken quickly when exposed to sunlight, making it less suitable for long-term outdoor use. These issues need to be addressed before this technology can be widely used in clothing industry. Therefore, the development of this technology is ongoing, and it has a readiness score of 3. While artificial furs and leathers have been available for quite some time, leveraging the unique structure of polar bear fur for its superior quality is a significant advancement. It is a novel idea with a score of 4 for innovation. The potential impact of this technology is huge. This could revolutionize fashion design and help people survive in extreme conditions. The impact is enormous, so it is a score of 5 for its potential impact. Now let's move on to the second outfit. In the hot summer, we sometimes wish there is this technology that allows us to walk around with an air conditioner, right? Well, scientists are trying and have came up with placing tiny devices inside the clothes, and that can help you warm or cold depending on the temperature. Recently, researchers from Nankai University in China have created a new wearable device that addresses these limitations. This device combines flexible solar panels called OPV modules with special temperature-controlled units called EC thermal regulation units. The unique feature of this device is that it does not need any external power source, meaning that it powers itself using sunlight. It can actively regulate our body temperature and quickly make us feel warm or cold as needed. It can even switch between warm and cold modes depending on our body's requirements. This special clothing, known as OPVEC thermoregulatory clothing, short for OETC, expands our thermal comfort zone and makes us feel comfortable at a wider range of temperatures, from 6 to 25.1 degrees Celsius. It works really fast to adjust to the temperature, and it uses very little energy, so that it can work all day long. In the future, this device could be used in many different situations. It can be useful in extreme environments like the polar regions or during spacewalks. So, how good is it according to the standard of this threshold rating? The OETC shows promise for harsh scenarios where thermoregulation is crucial. However, OPV modules, the solar panel, and their applications in clothing is still in experimental stage and not ready for mass production. So we rate this technology a 2 for readiness. On the other hand, in terms of novelty, this idea deserves a rating of 5. It brings an innovative approach to thermoregulation in clothing. Similarly, the potential impact of OETC are significant. It could revolutionize space mission, polar exploration, and even find applications in military gear. Considering these potential ripple effects, we rate it a 5. And that is all for today's Threshold. As usual, we welcome your feedback and thoughts.
Successively, different countries just published statistics about economic growth in 2023. Actually, global economic growth in 2023 was not so brilliant. The global growth lacks momentum. So in that context, China's GDP growth rate, statistically speaking, is 5.2% in 2023. Some sectors have experienced a very strong growth, such as renewable energy or EV, electric vehicles. China's EV export is #1 in the world, and the number has surpassed all these other countries combined. But all in all, China's growth is not very brilliant, because after the pandemic, Chinese financial system have suffered a lot during the pandemic, and just after the pandemic, our financial system have experienced a sort of deleveraging. Those deleveraging process have hampered Chinese growth or Chinese firms' borrowing capacities and investment capacity. That's why Chinese growth is not so robust. But globally speaking, in 2023, the global economy has experienced a triple low tide development. First, we know that economic growth has its cycles. Global economy is coming to the low tide of its development. The consumption is going down and the investment is going down also. The second factor of this low tide development is because, technologically speaking, the global economy is meeting a sort of a bottleneck of technology innovation. The last high tide economic development has been triggered by the development of internet-related technology. There is an accumulation of these technologies for almost 20-30 years before they reach a peak point and with a lot of technology innovations. While today, even we focus on AI development, on quantum communication development, all these technologies need some time to be matured and to get a larger application in our society, to change our way of life, to change our production ways. So it needs time. The third factor is that the global economy is experiencing the end of a long period of monetary policy releasing or extreme accommodating monetary policy. The world is coming into a period of monetary policy tightening. More and more central banks of the major economy are tightening their monetary policies, starting from Federal Reserve in the United States and followed by European Central Bank, Bank of England, Bank of Japan. All these central banks are tightening their monetary policies now. In previous years, when the liquidity is so easy, the capital was chasing new technology. While today, those technology companies will have much more difficulties gathering new fundings from those capital markets, because those capital markets were looking for those bond investments, for those financial investments that could get better return than investing in those technology companies. While the global economy is slowing, the stop line in global economy is the rise of global south. If you look at the developing countries, many of them are growing faster and they are becoming so-called emerging economies. I can quote a lot of examples. Indonesia is one of them. In Africa, some countries are becoming new emerging economies. Turkey is also one of these important new emerging economies. And the rise of global south is to some degree related to Chinese Belt and Road initiatives. In 2023, we just commemorate the 10th anniversary of Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Since China launched BRI, China has strengthened its investment in those global south countries. Those investments in infrastructures has improved greatly the environment of economic development. That's why more and more those countries becomes more performing in their global development, in their economy structure, and in their development rates. Previously, in the 1970s, when the G7 created the Group of Seven, they represent almost more than 80% of global economy, while today, the G7's GDP represents only 30% of global economy. Even BRICS countries, without its enlargement, 5 BRICS countries represent more than 31% of global economy. So there is a sea change in global economy. The rise of global south will redefine the global economy order, and they will try to make a lot of things happen in global economy. In 2024, global economy will continue to experience a very, very difficult phase of development. For example, 2024 is a super election year. Election will be conducted in more than 30 major economies in the world. It will touch upon more than 3 billion people in the world. The focus will be shifted from economic development to some extent to political fight within their national framework. That's why I'm afraid that 2024 would not be a strong economic growth year. Apart from this, a lot of tensions are rising in the world, let alone Ukrainian war and Gaza war. There is a lot of tensions between Korean Peninsula, for example, with military exercise conducted by South Korea and the United States. North Korea is launching some alarming voices. And then North Korea said that facing these kind of challenges, new challenges, they will be prepared to counterattack. And also across Taiwan Strait, they have just elected someone who previously had defined this position as a defender of the separatists in Taiwan. So that could also trigger some tensions across Taiwan Strait. All these tensions could be called some geopolitical tensions. These geopolitical tensions will also hamper the global economic development. So 2024 wouldn't be a very easy year for global growth. Nevertheless, 2024 probably may witness an economic recovery, a stronger economic recovery in China. Because starting from the second half of 2023, Chinese government have taken some measures to support Chinese economic recovery. All these measures are making effect more and more. Looking at China's consumption curve is rising very, very quickly. In many, many cities, we are witnessing a return of tourists. Tourists across countries are visiting many, many cities. That created more opportunity for tourism, for financial development, for consumption. So all these will continue in 2024, and 2024 will be supported by increasing consumption in Chinese domestic market, and probably by more investment in some new technology, because Chinese government is planning a coming back in many key technology sectors.
And this was another episode of China Now, a show that opens a window to the present and the future of the Asian giant. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see you next time.